So anyway, that was that. And this is this.
Ghostbusters has tits.
Oh, my, nice.
Can that be the title of this episode?
So good. That was that. This is this. Ghostbusters. It was good, man. It was good.
All right.
But he's right. It does. We talked about it before. The rumored all-female cast of Ghostbusters.
Correct.
It's true.
Yep.
Now it has come to fruition.
The rumors are true.
Yes.
And at first, I'd like to point out that the original cast was definitely better. But this cast is good, too.
Well, how are you going to compete with that original cast?
You really can't.
There's no way.
No.
You really can't.
Right.
I think I was talking to a coworker about it, and that was their issue because I brought it up, and a female coworker, she jumped in and she's like, you just don't like it because it's all women. And it's like, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
The original rumor was fucking Tina Fey, Amy Poehler. Who else was in that original?
Melissa McCarthy.
She was still in there. She's always been attached to it. So
Yep.
yeah, Melissa McCarthy, and then somebody else. But I mean, you've got Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, and Melissa McCarthy. Even if you're not really that huge a fan of Melissa McCarthy, I think Kristen Wiig was also part of that original rumor.
Tina Fey as Egon.
That's four. I mean, come on, like that's a solid fucking cast.
Yeah.
And that's what the guy was saying. He's like, it's not because it's women. It's because I don't like fucking Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, and I don't even know the other two chicks.
Right.
So that was his problem with it. I do know all four of the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with two of them. Obviously, the two lesser known.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard good.
Leslie Jones.
Yeah, what are their names?
Leslie Jones. It's Kristen Wiig, the big Melissa McCarthy, Leslie Jones, and Kate McKinnon.
Okay.
Those last two. Leslie Jones is on SNL, but I've never seen anything with her.
So is Kate McKinnon. She's also on SNL.
All right, then.
They're both. I know Leslie Jones because I used to watch Comic View when I was younger.
Oh my God!
I mean, and she was like a staple on there. She was actually pretty funny. And then I don't know how. Maybe it was because SNL was like hiring black actresses, and they were like, "Whoa, we can't hire black actresses without going after a really good comedian, like a really good stand-up comedian." So they got Leslie Jones. And I think she's funny. Like she has this like really like obnoxious, like, really abrasive kind of like I guess like a taller Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
Because she's like 6'4". She's a big lady.
She's also a woman.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too.
So.
I mean, we're splitting hairs here.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you just said taller Kevin Hart. You kind of missed the fact that he's a male.
What? I mean, what difference? Well, obviously, we're
What difference does it make, Marco?
Because we're already talking about an all-female cast. Duh.
Anatomy.
Sexist.
Anyway, and then Kate McKinnon. I've only seen a couple of her bits, but she's pretty good.
I've seen a couple of hers too on SNL. I'm just not super familiar with her as far as more work than that, because I think they haven't had much more work than SNL. Being the spotlight of their career so far.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm personally hopeful for that cast. I think it's not bad. It could have definitely been worse. And like you were saying on the last time we talked about this, they couldn't have had 4 dudes again because there's no way to make that work.
Right.
There's no way to match up with that original cast of 4 dudes. So actually a pretty smart way for them to go about that is to go, okay, let's mix it up completely and have 4 ladies in the roles.
Right.
So there's not even a comparison. I mean, there's a slight comparison, but it's not a direct competition with the original all-dude cast.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty smart.
What do you think,
Could have
David?
put animals. Ghost
Could have done
Sparkers.
animals.
Ghost Barkers?
Ghost Sparkers. No, I mean, yeah, I guess I agree with Adam. Was Maya Rudolph the other rumored?
What?
Maya Rudolph.
Maya
That's who it
Rudolph.
was.
Yes.
I think that's who it was, yeah.
Oh, man, she would have been great.
Yeah.
Probably.
And they probably were trying to get that originally rumored cast together, but they probably just couldn't get them.
Yeah.
Because, Melissa McCarthy's already on there, and that came true, too.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's basically the cast of Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And they've worked together with that same director,
Bridesmaids
too.
is
So.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I just, what do you think is the reason that people are so upset? Do you think it's just because it's an all-female cast? Do you think it's because it's a remake of Ghostbusters? Or
No,
do you think it's the
because
females themselves?
It's just that. It's a change. You take something so good as the original Ghostbusters, and then you pretty much seemingly just wipe everything from it and from existence. So there's no continuity. It's just a complete reboot. And I
Well,
think
we don't know the
people-
story though.
We don't
That's
know
what I'm
for sure.
saying.
Well, yeah, you're saying like that's
As of right now, it's just a complete reboot. How are they gonna it's not Ghostbusters 4,
Right.
and they all have the same name, obviously.
Right.
But maybe that's why.
Maybe.
It's just changed.
I mean, I think that they could easily connect the universe if they want to.
Yeah.
Which, I'd like to see some kind of like nod to the originals. Just a little fan service.
Right. Harold Ramis, rest in peace.
Mhm.
Ivan Reitman, he's not attached to it anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, there has to be a little bit. Dan Aykroyd has said he's a fan.
Yeah.
Bill Murray said he was a fan a couple years ago. He said I would love to see an all female cast.
hmm
So that's 2 out of the 4.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen such a backlash.
I have.
Is it just all on the internet?
Yeah,
I haven't noticed that.
It's all internet. It's go to the comment section of any fucking forum, and you'll see people hate. There's I was reading some article about how there's like this all male forum where it's like males, what was it, dudes going their own way or some bullshit like
God.
that, and it's like this. This entire message board filled with just like this women hating, just testosterone filled, just ugh.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And and like I said, when I pulled up the article, the first thing is fucking Donald Trump confused and upset by the women cast. It's like, first of all, what's there to be confused about or upset about?
Well, in all honesty, Donald Trump probably wakes up confused and upset most of the time. So,
But
just in general,
he just looks in the mirror like, what do I do with this hair today?
what hair?
Yeah, he probably puts it on like a helmet.
Yes, like Darth Vader. He has a shell that he just puts it on.
I think a lot of it has to do with just like I said, the forums are filled with like nerd guys who just can't handle women in starring roles, like women protagonists.
Right.
And that, I've talked about it before. It was hard. It's hard for me to play a video game with a woman protagonist.
Right. You're not a big fan of the Tomb Raider.
Right, because like I said in that, I play vicariously through the character, and it's hard for me to. There's a disconnect there when it's a female character.
So
but
would you-
it doesn't stop me from playing the games.
Right.
I just
I was gonna say-
there's just a disconnect there.
Right. Would you be uncomfortable reading a book from the female perspective?
No, I wouldn't. But I'd read it with like a grain of salt. I would be reading it and saying like, well, this is from the female's perspective. So there's that empathy level that you have to have when you're reading something from a perspective like that. From a
Right.
male's perspective, you can put yourself in their shoes and kind of relate. Certain experiences are the same. And that's not the same. Not to say that you can't have those same experiences from a female's perspective. But
Right.
obviously, there's going to be that difference just because that's society.
Yeah, and I think one of the most interesting things in literature and in fictional works in general is when a male writes in a female perspective or vice versa.
Right.
And see how that works out.
Right.
I don't know. I just always find that really interesting, and I think that if you were to give more of a chance to those types of experiences that you are just consuming, you might be able to open up your mind a little bit too.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Because
Certainly.
Of course, there is a difference between men and women as far as how they view the world. And
Women be shopping.
Women be shopping.
damn it. But at the same time, we're all humans, so there is a common thing behind everything. You know?
Well, see, and that I was reading some article where they were saying people have this problem with it being an all-female cast, but no one had a problem with when it was an all-male cast. Because that just seems so inherently right for it to be all males
as protagonists.
But it's the same thing.
Well, we rule the world, Marco.
So, there you go. That's the viewpoint.
Right.
It's like what?
No, we really do, Marco.
Well, yeah, no. I'm
Just you
saying.
guys in particular.
just me and Dave. But yeah, that's no one had a problem with it when it was an all male cast.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, that's the norm.
Right, exactly.
That's
the norm. That's what's okay.
Right, and that's
having an all-female cast has to be, and that's the same thing with having an all-black cast. If you see that, you're like, well, that is part of what makes whatever that thing, that makes it whatever it is. You see what I'm saying? Like when you describe it.
True that.
When you're describing it, you have to say it's an all-black cast.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Right.
can't. It can't just be a thing. It can't just be a movie. It has to be, well, they did it with black people this time. Like, it has to be the fucking pony show with that. Same thing with an all-female cast. Like, that has to be
The main
That's-
descriptor.
right.
Of
That's
it.
it. Can't just be the new Ghostbusters film. It's the new Ghostbusters film with an all-female cast. Like, that's
Right.
the qualifier to it, which is sad.
Yeah.
It can't just be a movie.
Or I mean, there being a gay movie or
Right.
something. You know,
Yeah.
like.
Because that is inherently it's gonna fall under that genre of like gay and lesbian films. It can't just be with gay protagonists, because once they are the point of the movie, now it's a gay movie.
Right. The entire movie hinges on that fact.
Right.
And that alone.
And I don't think we're ever gonna get past that.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Just the way that we categorize things and put things in genres and put them in boxes and say this has to go here, we'll never get past that.
Well, eventually, through crossbreeding, we will all be a gray hue of a person. So eventually we'll get past it.
All gray movie.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I think all in all, I think we're all
On board.
Oh yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah,
I'd say I'm on board.
On board.
See, it's fucking Ghostbusters.
I mean, I think it's unnecessary for them to even make this movie to begin with.
Yeah.
Let's just get that out the way. Like,
But-
although we're supportive of the cast
Right.
itself, they shouldn't be making this movie at all.
And maybe that's what's sparking a lot of this anger too.
Yeah,
they'd
that
be angry
definitely
at
has a lot
anything.
to do with it.
But that being said, I think that they could have gone a lot worse as far as the casting and and director and all this type of stuff. So
Yeah.
we're slightly hopeful.
Yeah, slightly hopeful.
Yeah,
All right.
cautiously optimistic, as we like to say.
Yeah.